all of these neighborhoods right off Highway 41. We're talking about the Brantley, the Vinings. We're talking about Aaron Glenn. This couplet is right on top of you. Continue to make sure you're shielding yourself from those outside elements. Heaviest rain and the gustier winds really arrive overnight into early Friday morning. That's where you can see that center of circulation right there, maybe even still having a prominent eye. And right now, Future View has it tracking through our eastern corridor.
Where do you guys hang out during the day when you're not doing your shows? Okay, well, I took a class in college on how to speak sea lion. Probably walking out the door to images that look like this that we have seen in downtown Macon so far this morning. That is attributed to many fires that we did have all across the state of Georgia throughout yesterday afternoon. This S shape is continuing to be more and more well defined right around the 475 area, getting around Lake Wildwood. And if you live in Macon, you live in Warner Robins, maybe even down in Cochran, areas farther down to the south and over to the west, you are not expecting the same impacts that areas of northeast and east central Georgia are expecting. There we go.
We'll grab you a red spoon, let you kind of scrape it down.
Now the taste test. The taste test, well, that's important. I'm a little biased, but I think it's pretty good.
There you go.
Telfair County Emergency Management Director Jimmy Joins showed me some of the damage that remains and talked about what it's been like navigating the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. What you're going to want to do is make sure that you have a way to receive any possible severe warnings and make sure that those warnings will wake you up if you are going to get a bit of a later start to the day.
6:06 now, time for another step outside with Alex. So I hope we don't take a step outside because it has been sounding very loud over the studio for the past hour or so.
And that's going to be some good advice this morning. Just stay inside while this line of heavy rain and thunderstorms does roll through. And then the good news is there's some lighter rain behind that main line that does continue to make its presence known from west to east all across central Georgia early this morning. So here just past the 6 a.m. hour, let's break it down piece by piece. Taking away the cloud cover and going into our live radar where you can get a good picture of where those clumps of lightning are really clustering together and some of those reds and dark reds in nature. That's going to indicate your pretty heavy rainfall. So this line extending from northeast Washington County down to the southwest corner, the pocket of heaviest rain around Sandersville and Tennille, going back over towards the west across all of Wilkinson County. And then here in downtown Macon, the heaviest has made its way through already, now making its way into northern Twiggs, southern Bibb, eventually northern Houston and northern Peach counties. And then over to the west, we see this line going all the way through kind of on the county line of Upson and Taylor counties. And then, of course, going into Roberta now. Not necessarily seeing anything of the severe criteria. However, these thunderstorms still are a bit of the strong nature, and it comes in light of this still day one storm outlook, which will expire around 8 a.m. and then we'll transition into a new storm outlook, which is down to the south and the southeast of us. This still just covering the bases that we can see some gusty and damaging winds, maybe 40 to 60 miles per hour, just below the severe criteria, but haven't seen anything pop up a severe thunderstorm warning in quite some time. Some small hail is also possible, maybe some pea to dime sized hail, nothing that's going to be of the severe criteria necessarily. I think if you do get a severe thunderstorm warning, it's going to be mainly driven by those damaging winds that can get up to about 60 miles per hour in nature. So let's go through Future View, the high-res model, hinting at some breaking apart, at least less intense rainfall. So a lot of more green colors holding together, more so some isolated patches of some steady and heavy downpours. But I do believe the timing is pretty correct. As we go to about the 7 a.m. hour, going to enter areas like Warner Robins, Perry, Cochran, maybe even to downtown Dublin as well. And then as we go into 8, 9 a.m., that's when we're really looking at maybe just seeing some rain and some isolated showers, more so for our southern counties. But our southern counties also have the chance of holding on to this rain for a little bit longer. Once we get to 10 a.m., we're going to start to warm back up, get some sunlight in the picture, and that can contribute to maybe an isolated thunderstorm for our far southern counties like Crisp County, Wilcox County, down to Telfair counties. It's something we'll have to look out for closer to lunchtime. But then after lunchtime, we are going to clear out for the remainder of your Wednesday and as we head into the beginning of your weekend. All of this active weather across the southeast, across areas of the Ohio Valley, getting up into the Mississippi Valley as of last night, has been driven by this cold front. However, there is a secondary cold front behind it. You want to keep that in mind as we go into the end of your forecast, what's in store for this weekend. So a calmer picture in downtown Macon than what we saw as of about an hour ago. Still 76 degrees, still pretty humid, not seeing much in the way of rainfall anymore. Temperatures are warm, somewhere in the 70s, even close to the 80-degree mark this morning, and it is still rather humid, but seeing some slightly drier air up to the north and the northwest, going to continue its push down farther to the south. So as we go throughout today, the second half of your Wednesday, it is going to be a great day. Some less humid air going to build into the picture, going to be breezy behind that frontal boundary, even an occasional gust up to 30 miles per hour out of the west going to be possible. And a high temperature still above average, 89 degrees for a high. At least we are below the 90-degree mark. However, we will see a downtick in these temperatures as we go into the beginning of your weekend. 83 and 86 for high temperatures on Friday and Saturday before we begin to warm back up. But the real story will be this drier air ushering in later today, more so overnight tonight. It'll fluctuate a little bit, but then you see on Friday that secondary front that we were talking about is going to come through and continue to give us a reinforcing push of that drier air. So a lot of these temperatures for your weekend ahead are actually going to feel true to their values, not 90s, feeling like the mid and upper 90s like we've been used to over the last couple of days. So after we get through an active morning, we will clear out this afternoon all the way through Saturday. And then as the temperatures and the humidity build back into the forecast, that's when the rain chances do as well for the end of your Memorial Day weekend.